Let's see what happens. Yes, we are now supposedly live on
Yay!
YouTube. Yay! And it should pop up any moment telling me so. Oh, or not. Sometimes it does. Sometimes. Okay, I'm not
It's
going to worry about it.
yeah, it says for me we're streaming live.
Perfect. All right. Well, we're live. And as per usual, you can see me floundering. I love live, believe it or not, but
Yeah.
this is the story of my life. Okay. Anyways, welcome to the Aligned Ambition Show, where we share women's entrepreneurial wisdom. Are you a woman starting or growing an online business? Are you wanting to do things differently? Do you feel icky about using manipulative marketing tactics and are ready to align your business with your ethics, values, and life goals? Then stick around for this conversation. Today, I have with me Aparna. Oh,
Venkataraman.
Venkataraman, thank you. And I said, oh, no, I'll have no problem with that. And Aperna has 20 years of experience connecting with thousands of families in schools, children's hospitals, and nonprofit organizations since her teens. She is the founder of Beauty and Parenting and is a worldwide parent coach, meditation breathwork teacher, motivational speaker, and wellness advocate for doTERRA essential oils. So welcome, Aperna.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Larissa. I've been so looking forward to speaking. Yeah, and talking to you.
Well, I am excited to have you here. And like I said, Friday afternoons, I'm not sure why I do this, but I am a blithering idiot by this time of the week. So maybe because it's fun, maybe because it's fun and I
It's
don't worry
fun.
about it.
Yeah.
Yes. For those who don't know you, can you share a little bit about yourself and how you came to do what you do?
Yeah, so beauty and parenting, I think I shared my story with Larissa a couple of months ago, but beauty and parenting um, was born out of a need for me to support more families worldwide with parenting, with stress relief. After I know she just mentioned that I used to work in children's hospitals. I used to be a preschool teacher, and it really started out because I had a lot of anxiety and depression as a child. I was born a very premature baby and was really highly sensitive, and I didn't know it at the time later on until I started my own spiritual journey, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And I went through a lot of stress with my own family and a lot of yelling, a lot of big, deep emotions that I felt, a lot of anger, especially during the teen years, of course. But um, I went through a lot and I just didn't, I always, and I also went through a lot of bullying as well, too, I will mention as a child. And so it was really hard for me to navigate my childhood and to um, honestly even have a lot of mental focus for all the things at school as well too. And I grew up having a lot of extracurricular activities of art, of dance, of piano, of playing some sports, and they were great outlets for me. But at some point, I had to, in my teen years, switch over to focusing on academics and less of my passions. And I really realized that like I needed that outlet at the time. I needed more of my friendships. I needed things that really aligned for me. And so I went on to study human behavior and psychology the last year of high school, and I loved it so much that I studied child development and psychology and neuroscience in college, and that's where I really got into mindfulness. I started taking a lot of meditation and yoga classes, and I learned how much they honestly helped me to relax. And I love being in community, but um, breathwork especially, how much it felt good to focus on me for once in my life, and focus on how I felt and focus on the emotions that were coming up, and all those negative thoughts, and how at peace I felt. And so I noticed in life after college that my anger became less and less because I had this practice that was something that felt really good to me. And so I then went on to do all of the work that she mentioned, and and working with a lot of um, families, and helping them to relieve stress, helping to a lot of moms and caregivers, especially to relieve stress, especially if their kids had health issues or they had behavioral things come up, or grief, or trauma came up. And I had a period of transition in 2016 where I had to leave my job as a preschool teacher and move back to my hometown. Um, after a grandmother of mine passed away, and I also left a relationship that wasn't really aligned for me too, and that was also a big learning lesson. But I realized that I still wanted to support families, and I went on. I got a life coach and a business coach to help me out for the first time, and this was after many years of having therapists help me out. Thankfully, in life with everything I'd been through, but for the first time, I had a life coach and I had a business coach who understood where I was at, and that person helped me. He helped me to dive deep into my purpose in life and what I really wanted to do, and he saw my passions and my spirit. And so I created Beauty and Parenting because I want parents to remember all the ways that parenting can be beautiful and all the ways that as a parent, as a caregiver, um, you have so much beauty within you as well, even on those days when you don't look and feel beautiful or life is throwing so much at you. And how mindset, how these things can ripple onto our family and onto our children as well too. And so I'll share more later on about my offerings and things and how I specifically support families. But that's a lot of why I do what I do. And I've gotten to support so many in their wellness with essential oils. I've gotten to travel conferences. I've gotten to speak and support many, many in different parts of the world and the country to just continue to empower them. It's been really beautiful being able to do all of this.
Yeah, I love that. We'll talk about that more about that, but just have a question
Yeah.
that came up while you were speaking
Yeah.
about therapy and coaching, right? Because I
Hmm.
talk about this a fair bit inside my mastermind, but I don't know that I talk about it publicly as much.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
personally believe you need both, right?
Yeah.
And they do very distinct things,
Yeah.
right? Therapy is sort of like that uncovering, working through the past, and that life coach or business coach is the
Hmm.
forward. Forward. What do we
Yeah.
do now? What do we do to move forward? And and did you find that, you know, having a coach, a life and business coach,
Hmm.
well, it did because you started your business and did
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Did you notice the difference, I guess is more my question. What was the difference for you in therapy versus coaching?
Therapy was always just a very clear place where I could have an outlet of these are all the things that are going on in my life and that are stressing me out, and I just want to talk to somebody and I want someone to just sit there and reflect back to me what's going on. And it was just, because I was going through a lot of deeply emotional things. And I think I ended therapy around age 30 after as I said, right before I had this transition into working with families with beauty and parenting. And I noticed that my coach, I really find that coaches, whether they're parent coaches or any kind of coaches or business coaches, are very proactive in getting you back on track. And I do this as well, getting you back on track um, more into the logical side of things instead of always the emotional. Because clients, as you know, people are going to come to us with how we feel and what's going on in life, all the stressors. But it's nice to have someone who gets you back on track into a direction, into looking at your forward goals, looking at your visions, getting you back on that train of where you are and where you want to be. I think that's been um, the biggest insight probably in my life is that life is not just our emotions and how we feel, and how we feel isn't us as well too is a big aha moment. But that we have ways that we can manage things, obviously, that I teach. But um, that's probably been just the biggest boon for me to have someone who is very proactive. And I went on to have, one or two other business coaches in life, well, in my career as well too, who supported me. But I wholeheartedly believe in therapy, and I believe there's a time and a place um, for families, for kids to go into therapy, especially if they need someone locally too. I wish I could be everywhere at once, but I can't be. But I believe it's a huge boon and a blessing to have coaches out there who are dedicated to help you with what you specialize or what you specifically need as well too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you. Yeah. That- Basically my same feeling,
Yeah.
as a coach and being able to move people forward from
Right.
But
Yeah.
then I'm also not a therapist. So, therapy, I'm a huge proponent of therapy and
Yeah.
working through those things that hold you back,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I love that. I love that. And so when decided to build your own business, like you had a lot going on, it sounds like, right? So you were moving, leaving a relationship, leaving your
Yeah.
job, like all of the things.
Hmm.
What made you decide I'm going to do this on my own? Like I'm going to, start my own business, do this instead of.
Yeah. It wasn't something that I had ever done before. Being an entrepreneur was not on my list of what I envisioned in life, but I, yeah, like I said, I really took after my life and business coach at the time, who was an accomplished entrepreneur. He had been speaking on stages. He is also a meditation teacher, and he really, back in I think 2016, 2017, when I was working with that person, there weren't a lot of other parent coaches out there. Not really. I didn't really meet more until I met a parent coaching community in 2018, in 2019, and not many people knew what I did, but it um it really helped to be like, I think I can really do this. I think I can really be in the online space after, so many years, decades of doing a 9 to 5 job. I was like, I really think that um the online space is growing and social media is growing, and I knew of a lot of different kinds of entrepreneurs out there, but that's why I started off honestly at that time with teaching classes locally at a local wellness center to get the word out. I think that's a really important thing. Um, but yeah, like I said, having someone who's been where you want to go made it really possible for me to be like, yeah, the online space is really growing and people are able to make an income. And I also honoring your gifts and what you have out
Mhm.
there that not many people at that time, were doing too. And so um, I really wanted to do that. I didn't want to go back and study and become a therapist. I recognized that wasn't what really lit me up with wanting to do that. I didn't envision myself becoming a therapist down the road in life. And, I was like, I'm gonna create this and do this on my own as well too.
Mhm.
And I think I entered into a group coaching program with that person um, maybe 6 or 8 months after doing one-on-one coaching with them, life coaching. When I was doing business coaching, I entered into a group coaching program, and that really helped to have other entrepreneurs who are starting out with their business or had, needed help defining their niche and to have that accountability. And so I had an accountability partner at that time who was a mom of 4 boys, who was a wonderful friend of mine, who we supported each other in our mindfulness businesses, and we helped to stay on track too. And so I will say that I have an accountability partner now who's someone else who is on the other side of the world, who is also a parent coach, but it's really helpful to just like even have that one person who, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be someone you never met, who is just there for you um, and sees you and holds space for you and just wants like what's best for you too.
Yeah. I think that's such an important message. Women are expected to do a lot in their
Hmm.
lives, right?
Hmm.
And we don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it
Yeah.
alone. Whether it's a, parenting coach, I think about when my kids were little and I couldn't parenting coach. What is that? We were judged for, if we said anything or did anything, didn't matter if it
Yeah.
was good or bad, we were judged. There was no parenting coaches.
Right.
Now that my grandkids are getting older and I see the changes in parenting now.
Hmm.
And then, but also what my daughter's going through, because we also have a young grandson. He's going to
Hmm.
be 3 right away. And the changes, like
Yeah.
the moms come together and they share their stories and there's
Yeah.
still some issues, but they are starting to talk to each other. And that
Yeah.
community, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a coach, whether it's an accountability partner,
Right.
a group that you belong to, or just
Hmm.
mom friends or business friends,
Hmm.
women in community are amazing, right? And so
Yes.
finding those people that are going to support you in what you do. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
such an important thing. Yeah.
It's extremely important. I'll share more later, but I have a group coaching program coming up starting soon that is so much about community. It's the first time I'm launching something like this, and it's powerful um to just be in a space where you feel seen and you feel heard with
Mhm.
what's going on in your life too. And so I know in my life of doing this work now for 8 or 9 years as an entrepreneur, I'm so blessed that like pretty much all of the people that I've interviewed with or met through here or there or met in person at events, like we can all come together and we can just like cheer each other on to
Mhm.
be there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an important part of community, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, why don't you share? We can talk some more, but now that you've opened that can of worms, um, share a little bit about your coaching that you do and your
Yeah.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have I'll start out by saying I have a Facebook group called the Sensory Self-Care Space, and I started it during the pandemic a couple years ago, where I was working with a lot of anxious and highly sensitive moms who needed just a wonderful space where I went live and I did weekly breath work, and I shared like really short different practices for focus and anxiety. And it's still there on my website as well, beautyandparenting.com if you'd like to join. But that's just a really fun little space for inspiration on self-care in so many
Mhm.
ways too. It's a nice relaxing space. I do offer one-on-one parent coaching and meditation breathwork sessions that have been wonderful for so many parents globally who, well, not even parents, but also like I've had graduate students, I've had teens, I've had grandparents. I work a lot with grandparents as well too, but a lot of parents who are needing support on 5 areas on self-care, of course, on effective communication skills, verbally and non-verbally, on managing emotions, on noticing celebration and seeing the bigger picture of things, shifting your mindset, and on daily schedules and routines, on creating an easy routine is a huge thing I also specialize in. And so this group coaching program that's starting the end of May is a 4-week group coaching program because I know, especially as we shift into summer, things really change. Families, they need help with routines and schedules, and um, they have more space in their day where they are around their family members and they really need help with how to talk with them. So I talk on the 5 areas that I just mentioned, and also we have meditation breathwork time at the end, which I'm so excited about because I've been wanting to combine what I do a lot of times too.
Mhm.
And you'll get a really beautiful 17-page workbook that you can use for the 4 weeks, and everything will be recorded. And there are some other bonuses as well of a discount of my offerings as well too for anyone who joins. And so it's just 5 moms I'm accepting into the program because I know that I want to hear from you and I want to find solutions. And I want you to have time to speak as well too. It's not just me teaching. I want parents to be able to find community and share what's on their mind too. So I'm excited, very excited about that. It's at beautyandparenting.com if you are interested. I have more questions.
I love that because community, like I said, community is so important, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're combining breath work, mindfulness
Yeah.
with parenting, we don't think of those things going together, right?
No, we don't.
Like,
No, we don't.
there's no time to breathe. We just keep going.
Yeah.
But it's so important. It's so important to have those things as a parent. Parenting is hard,
Yeah.
and you know parent we used to do it all by ourselves, right? Like there
Mhm.
was no talking to anybody about it because you were just a whiner and you were split all the things.
Especially with your own extended family. And I mean, growing up, a lot of us we couldn't voice our emotions. We couldn't voice how we felt without being punished for things
Hmm.
or being looked down upon by other people, friends, whomever, teachers, anyone. Um and so we see it, even in romantic partnerships, as I mentioned, like we can see that pattern that keeps coming
Hmm.
up too. And so now we're blessed to have a space online and in person where we can really talk through, mental health in general. We can talk through family life and how it is as well too. I see that a lot in Facebook groups. Um, so that's why I'm just so excited to have this little dedicated time. And I wanted it to be 4 weeks because it is the summer as well here. But I really just it's basically a variation on a one-on-one 6 week program that I have. And I wanted to turn it into, which has been really successful. I wanted to turn it into a 4 week program and invite more people into. I want, especially worldwide, I hope more, I work with a lot of people worldwide, but I hope that we get a nice group that's worldwide too, and they can hear about different stories and cultures and life, family life too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that just what you said about the worldwide and learning from other cultures, learning from other
Yeah.
people, how they do it. There's not
Yeah.
only one way, right?
Right.
And I find I'm in Canada, so we're a
Mhm.
little bit different, but very similar to the
Mhm.
States. We're very North American centric, specifically U.S. centric in our thinking, and so there are many other ways of looking at things, right? And so being
Yeah.
open to those things and having that global audience for it, it is, I think, really important, especially when you think about things like parenting, right? There's no one
Mhm.
way. There's no
No.
like one way to do it. It's like what's going
Yeah.
to work best for you and your kids and your
It's
kids.
fascinating. It's yeah, you're so right. It's fascinating to be in these spaces where you get, especially group places or memberships where you can just open your mind to new perspectives too and learn from others as well. I think it's just a really, really powerful thing. I love doing one-on-one, but I just love also hearing from other people and meeting new people. It's really fun for me. So I'm very, like I said, I'm very excited, super excited.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in your business, the things that what's one thing or more? What's something you would want to share with somebody who wanted to start their own coaching business on whatever topic, but maybe specifically parenting, but what's one thing you
Um,
would tell someone about coaching that they need to know?
I would really, I would really tell someone to, um, first and foremost, create some sort of self-care practice for yourself. You're going to need it. That's what really my life and business coach helped me with, is to start off a practice of getting great sleep, finding ways that I can get great sleep. And I realized over the years, at a certain point in time in the middle of the last 8 years, that I wasn't sleeping very well, and my focus was really difficult. And so I looked at my wellness and nutrition and found a deficiency of vitamin D, and that's been helpful for me and my family as well too, for all of us to sleep well. But it could be something like exercising more. It could be what you're eating. It could be what your bedtime routine is, which I coach a lot of people on this. But I think having a self-care practice is going to be super crucial for you, because it's going to help you to relax, but it's going to help you to not take things as personally, to focus more, to have a stress reliever when things come up, like if your kids are sick, or you know you can't make it to work one day, or whatever comes up in life, or maybe like someone doesn't get back to you in your career or something like that, in your business, and it's frustrating. And so um, I would say creating a routine of something that works for you is just going to be the best stress reliever that you can have, and just staying on top of that, and just time blocking in times when you can relax, but in between meetings. And as an entrepreneur, you are in control of your own schedule, and that freedom and flexibility really honestly worked for me, compared to a 9 to 5, I think, best. And so, which is why I'm still doing this. And so um, creating a schedule that works for you, and knowing that you don't have to schedule things back to back meetings and everything to fill up your day like a 9 to 5, unless you want to. But um, knowing that it's okay to take a deep breath, I think, is probably the most. I could share so many things, but I think that's probably the biggest thing for me that's
So
been the best
true, so
result.
true.
Yeah.
The self-care, and we get so caught up in this must produce world
Yeah.
that we live
Hmm.
in. And we become entrepreneurs to do things differently. And then we end up doing things in the cubicle culture. So it's like, yeah, just take a breath and you
Yeah.
decide your schedule, look after yourself, do what's best for you. And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think
yep, go
I
ahead.
think really quickly, I think that one thing I do right now is I always ask myself, Does this need to be done right now, or can I put it off until tomorrow? Can it be done on the weekend? Can it be done in the evening, or, early in the morning too? I mean, most of the times we put so much pressure on ourselves to get it all done and be productive, and, post all the time and all of these things too, and be successful and be launching things all the time as an entrepreneur, but, or in our career. But it's those moments of slowing down that really just like help us help bring us back to what really matters the most and where
Yeah.
we are. Yeah.
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 The two times I've experienced burnout twice in the last 5 years, and I
Yeah.
literally teach this, so I should know better.
Mhm.
I do, but I've
Mhm.
done it,
Yeah.
and both times I've cut my workload in half
Uh-huh.
and done and produced actually more, right? Because I
Yeah.
took the time, and now it's just like I work very minimal hours in a day.
Mhm.
I work when I want to work. I'm a morning
Mhm.
person, so I actually start teaching at 6 a.m. and my time.
Yeah.
And, I just allow myself to be done. Like I'll be done as soon as this. So it'll be at 2 o'clock right now in
Mhm.
my time. And that's a long day, right? That's a long day for me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I'm over it. I'm ready to be done. And
Right.
so
I
that I can
mean,
do things I want to
yeah.
do. Yeah.
No, I mean that definitely works for you. I think conversely, I'm not as much of a morning person. I like my quieter mornings. I don't like to start off right into meetings and things like that. But so conversely, I love like spending time in my evenings, more getting back to people, especially honestly, because I work with people worldwide, I inevitably will have to get back to people in different time zones. So I found that, this is my most productive time. And I think I work maybe a good chunk of like 4 to 6 hours in a day and really get it done. And then I allow myself to be like, you know what, I've produced this, and it's however it's put out into the world, however people take it is how it's going to take it. I don't need to worry about it really
Mm-hmm.
until the next day or until Monday or whenever I need to. I think that's the whole thing of not having to overthink about everything that we put out there. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes, thank you. I just put your link in the chat for your free self-care and priorities chart. So I put the
Yeah.
link in the chat there. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I love this chart so much. Um, I have I started out with like a common clarity guide years ago when I launched Beauty and Parenting, and it did really well with some sweet mindfulness and breathwork techniques for parents. But then I had a client, I think during the pandemic, who was like, I just can't do self-care. Like I don't know how to prioritize it. I don't know how to fit it into my schedule. Like, and I was like, maybe I should create a chart for this person that is colorful and it's pretty easy and it's got the days of the week and it's meant to be used weekly, but it's just basically got like, looking at your schedule of like, what are you doing with chores? What are you doing with your work? Like just looking at how much time and how many, prioritizing what couple of things you can work on each day or in the week ahead. And also at the bottom, celebrating a weekly win with your family of, having something to look forward to or looking at your progress has been really important. So I don't even know, hundreds and hundreds of people have loved that chart, or my clients have loved that chart too, worldwide. And so I hope you enjoy it and, use it however you use it. I've had clients who've used it alongside sessions. Um, parents I've worked with who are like people who are more elderly who have used it to just like plan out the year ahead too with what's going on. So students can use it like, whomever needs it the most. It's just nice to have a visual sometimes. And I've obviously used it to use it the most when I created it, but having a visual sometimes of like, I've got so much going on. This is what matters the most to me. This is what I'm valuing. This is what my family needs the most right now. It's been really
I love that. I love that. Especially, I work with women and we tend to overdo it, right? We
cool.
have all the things. We have our
Say yes to everything.
our
Yep.
family and our home and we're responsible for so many things. So I think that's a wonderful gift. And so we will definitely put the link as well. It's in the chat right now, but we'll put it in the show notes as well. I want to thank you for being here. Is there any final thoughts that you want to share with our listeners?
I just want to, I thank you so much for having me. I just want to share that it's so important. I'm telling a lot of people these days, it's so important in your, even if you're not an entrepreneur and but you're in a 9 to 5, just like to just, if you're feeling stuck, to just find ways when you can remind yourself that, this is the vision I have. This is why I'm doing this. These are the ways that that you can keep going, and just to find ways to stand out as much as you can through can be your personality, it can be through what you do, what you have to offer, your skills, your skill set. And having these conversations with the people you work with, your managers, with the people you collaborate with, but how you want to show up is really what's going to help you these days. We have many people in the online space, gratefully very blessed to do that. But if you want to keep going, just mixing it up and staying on top of who you are and what you're here to do and how you want to show up in the world, or even locally in your community, or in your family life, is really key too.
Yeah, I love that, because I think this is the time women are stepping out of that need to stay small, right? Like,
Yeah,
enough of it.
yeah,
We are here for a purpose, and we are going to start living that purpose.
yeah,
And I really support that. I really support
yeah.
that. So thank you. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you're a woman interested in aligning your heart-centered online business with your ethics, values, and life goals, join our Aligned Business Building Mastermind for accountability, like-minded women who become your business colleagues to share the journey with, resources and trainings, and so much more. And you can get 90% off your first 30 days with coupon Aligned90. And I will put the link also in the chat and the show notes when we have them. I'm putting it right there right now. And thank you again. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you
Thank
for
you. Thank you
sharing.
so much, Larissa. I really appreciate it. Thank you.